There are many conspiracy theories about the occult practices practiced by world elites in the talks since many years, but with the recent Epstein papers, it becomes evident. On January 30th, 2026, 3 million pages, 2,000 videos, 180,000 images, the biggest Epstein document drop in history. In this video, we're going to expose what the Epstein Files really contain, which powerful figures appear again and again. And the question that matters more than any name, did anyone actually pay? Before going deeper, first we need to understand what the Epstein Files actually are. The Epstein Files are not a single document and not a list of names. They are a collection of official legal records gathered over decades through criminal investigations and civil court cases. These files include sworn victim and witness testimonies, sealed depositions, flight logs, and travel records, financial documents, email communications, evidence inventories listing photos and videos, court exhibits, and internal filings. Many of these records were sealed by court order. Some were withheld to protect ongoing investigations. Others were sealed due to the involvement of powerful individuals. Being mentioned in these files does not mean guilt, but repeated appearances across multiple records do indicate documented associations. The importance of the Epstein Files is not individual accusations. It is the patterns they reveal, who had access, who appeared repeatedly, and who remained protected. Jeffrey Epstein did not operate in isolation. He moved within elite social, political, and financial circles, openly and consistently. That is why these files matter. They show how one individual's activities were connected across institutions, jurisdictions, and power structures. Understanding this foundation is critical, because without knowing what the Epstein Files are, it's impossible to understand why their release matters. On January 30th, 2026, the Epstein case entered a new phase. On that day, courts and related authorities released the largest batch of Epstein-related material ever made public. The scale was unprecedented. 3 million pages of documents, 2,000 videos listed in evidence inventories, 180,000 images referenced across case files. This was not a leak. This was not a rumor dump. These were officially unsealed and released records. The release included previously sealed depositions, expanded witness testimonies, updated evidence logs, supporting exhibits tied to civil and criminal proceedings. What made this release different was not just the volume, but the context. For the first time, documents from separate cases years apart in different jurisdictions could be cross-referenced. Patterns that were once fragmented became visible. Names appeared repeatedly across. Flight records, testimonies, scheduling logs, and internal references. Large portions of the material were still heavily redacted. Some names were removed. Some locations were obscured. Some media content was referenced, but not released. And that raised a critical issue. If the purpose of unsealing was transparency, why were the most sensitive sections still inaccessible? The January 30th release did not provide closure. It provided confirmation. Confirmation that the Epstein case was not confined to one timeline, one crime, or one individual. It was part of a much broader network, documented, recorded, and partially revealed. And this release set the stage for the most important questions of all. Who appears in these files? How deep do the connections go? And when everything is documented, the Epstein Files reference multiple high-profile individuals across different records. Mention in these files does not imply criminal guilt. It indicates documented association. Bill Clinton appears in flight logs and witness testimonies referenced in connection with Epstein's travel network. Prince Andrew, named in sworn victim testimony, central figure. In multiple civil court records, publicly denied allegations. Later reached a civil settlement. Ghislaine Maxwell, identified as Epstein's primary associate, appears across depositions, testimonies, and evidence logs. Convicted for sex trafficking-related charges. Alan Dershowitz, referenced in legal filings and testimonies, denied all allegations involved in multiple defamation-related legal disputes. Jean-Luc Brunel, modeling agent connected through witness statements, appears in recruitment-related testimonies, faced criminal investigation before his death. Les Wexner, Epstein's primary financial benefactor, appears in financial records and property transactions, stated he severed ties prior to Epstein's arrest. Unnamed individuals, numerous names remain redacted. Some referenced by initials, titles, or roles appear repeatedly across sealed or partially unsealed records. These names recur across flight logs, testimonies, contact records, and financial documentation. The Epstein Files establish connections, not verdicts. They show who appears, where, and how often. The term occult is often misunderstood. In this context, it does not refer to superstition or fantasy. It refers to ritualized behavior, symbolism, and secrecy used by elite groups throughout history. For decades, researchers and historians have documented how powerful circles have relied on exclusive initiation practices, symbolic acts, shared secrets, and controlled access. These practices serve one primary function: binding loyalty through secrecy. In intelligence, corporate, and political history, shared compromising behavior has often been used to ensure silence and compliance. This is where Epstein becomes relevant. Multiple testimonies describe structured routines, specific locations, and controlled environments. These were not random social gatherings. Witness accounts repeatedly reference ritual-like repetition, strict rules, controlled movement, and enforced secrecy. The files themselves do not label these actions as occult. That interpretation comes from pattern analysis, not claims. The theory exists because behaviors were repeated, environments were designed for control, and secrecy was consistently enforced. Symbols, architecture, language, and isolation all play roles in how power structures operate. Whether one accepts the term occult or not, the underlying mechanism is documented. Ritualized secrecy creates leverage. The Epstein Files do not prove belief systems. They document systems of control. And that distinction matters, because when behavior follows a ritual pattern, it stops being random and starts being structural. When all the evidence is reviewed, the answer is simple. Very few people faced consequences. Jeffrey Epstein, arrested in 2019, died in federal custody before trial. Ghislaine Maxwell, arrested, tried, and convicted, sentenced to prison for sex trafficking-related charges. Beyond these two, the record changes. No major political figure was criminally charged. No billionaire faced prosecution. No intelligence or institutional network was formally held accountable. Several individuals reached civil settlements. Civil settlements resolve lawsuits. They are not criminal punishment. Many names appeared in documents. Many connections were documented, but criminal cases did not follow. Investigations stalled. Jurisdictional limits were cited. Statutes of limitation expired. In multiple instances, evidence existed but was deemed insufficient for prosecution. The result is clear. Exposure happened, documentation was released, but accountability stopped at a certain level. The Epstein Files answered many questions about who was connected. They did not answer why only 2 people paid the price. And that leaves the final issue unresolved. Was justice delayed, or was it deliberately limited? The Epstein Files revealed millions of pages, names, and connections, but almost no one faced real consequences. Exposure happened, but accountability stopped. If all this is documented, why did almost no one actually pay? Subscribe to stay updated as we break down the hidden truths the media won't cover.